I'd like to call to order the October 19th, 2020 meeting of the Oakdale Environmental Management Commission. We'll do a roll call. Commissioner Grenville?
Present.
Commissioner Cantola?
Here.
Commissioner Girding?
Here.
And Commissioner, it's been a while, Bonnie.
It's okay, Wilson.
Wilson. Commissioner Wilson is present. And next we will stand and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item on our agenda this evening is approval of our January 13th, 2020 meeting minutes. And this has been a while, ladies and gentlemen, since we were last together. So I would ask if there are no changes, if there are changes, please bring them forward at this time. Hearing none, I would look for a motion to approve the January 13th, 2020 meeting minutes as written.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor of approval of the January 13th, 2020 Environmental Management Commission meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Thank you. So tonight, it's been a while since we were last together, and the first item on the agenda, management reports around energy efficiency resources, and this is an item for discussion. As you know, we had set forth a work plan in January for this year, which has been rather upset by the coronavirus, and so now we'll be getting back to things, and I think one of the things I'd like to start with is looking at energy efficiency and really to focus on energy and climate change, things we are doing to help citizens save money through energy efficiency, but also reduce greenhouse gases. And so we're going to start by looking at energy efficiency, both for Oakdale residences and for commercial businesses. October is Energy Awareness Month, so this is a good time to bring this item forward. And we have a new staff liaison for us. I think you've met her on the way in, but this is Shannon Reitlinger. And Shannon, I will give opportunity here for you to say a few words too at the beginning, since you put this together for us here.
Sure. Well, I'm really glad to be here. I actually grew up in Minnesota, but was in North Carolina for the past 7 years. So when I was there, I received my master's in public administration and have been gunning to get into local government and really wanted to do it back in Minnesota. So I'm very, very excited to be here with all of you. So as we mentioned, yes, October is Energy Awareness Month, and I know that energy efficiency is on the Commission's work plan for 2020. So I did want to pull together quite a few resources just to highlight the fact that there are plenty of opportunities to promote different energy audits and financing options in Oakdale for residents and for businesses. So I'm excited to have a discussion about how we can move forward with promoting some of those materials, especially because, as was mentioned, the pandemic kind of skewed a couple of different items on the work plan related to energy efficiency.
Great, thank you. So I would like to begin the discussion to talk about energy audits, and there are a number of opportunities for energy audits for both homeowners and for businesses. And I think that this is really an excellent place to start. I know personally, when moved into my new home 20 years ago, had an energy audit done to figure out where would be the best places to spend money, to save money on energy efficiency, and also to, as I said, reduce environmental emissions from the home. And I would like to, really have a focus on things we can do to promote energy efficiency. And I think starting with audits and the availability of those to our homeowners in particular, but also to businesses. And I know that the first one here, CERTs, the Clean Energy Resource Teams, we've worked with them in the past, and they're very effective, both with homeowners and businesses. And they do energy assessments, and they also would help with implement other things too, such as clean energy projects, including recommending solar installers and that type of thing. Now we're kind of getting outside of that time of year for solar installations in Minnesota, but I think that the energy audits. Also on this list is Excel Energy. They do home energy audits as well, and they also have a number of tools available, as does CERTs, to help homeowners if they don't want to have, especially in these times. I think we need to look at things that are available online as well. People may not feel comfortable with someone coming into their home to do an audit. So I think that if we can make known these online tools as well that they can use and not have to worry about someone coming in the home. So there are a number here, and I'd like to get others' input on if they have any experiences that they'd like to bring up that are listed here, or anything else regarding home energy audits. I open the floor here.
So I've recently just moved as well, and Excel reached out and provided both the home energy squad and the Excel energy, so they do them in tandem. They've promoted it. I received a few emails for my previous residents, and then when I moved, obviously they had a bigger push for it. So, bless you. They did the virtual. I think that one is really great if you're technologically savvy. It was a video chat. They needed pictures submitted. We walked through the home like with basically my laptop. So someone would need that sort of setup, and I think they would need to know that in advance. And then the Excel Energy, the actual individuals who came into the home to do the energy audit, they did that after the virtual visit. So they had more information, and they mandated quarantine if you weren't going to wear a mask. Otherwise, you needed to have a mask on the full time. Really great precautions. They brought their own indoor shoes so they could walk freely but not damage your carpets. And I know it's currently at a reduced cost, or at least it was a couple weeks ago. So Excel is really pushing those. If there's a way for us to connect and to like even retweet that or to promote that story through social media, I think that would be great, since they're doing kind of a lot of the hard work for us. And I'm sure that they probably have, 5-star reviews or something along those lines that we can really call out. Like even during a pandemic, they were able to accommodate and really assist. They changed light bulbs, you know, they do all of that for the cost. They changed weather stripping on my doors, which is something I didn't expect. And then they provided a free quotation for additional products that I would need for better energy efficiency. So it was a full service. It was really great, and moderately painless as long as you had the technology.
Great, thank you.
So what are our social media options for promoting any of the things on this list?
Well, we definitely have Facebook and Instagram because I know I follow on both of those platforms. I'm not a tweeter, so, but I assume that we have Twitter?
We do have Twitter.
Yeah, and we have a social media manager, do we not?
Correct.
Yeah, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'd probably be able to reach anyone who's actively involved as long as they follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which Facebook page is it?
It's the city of Oakdale.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, and I believe that Jen left a few different documents for me to look over, one of them being social media posts for a home energy squad challenge. I'm not sure where that challenge stands at this point. It was supposed to be during the summer, but that probably didn't happen. However, she does have some ideas in here for social media promotion, so this could be something that we could just reinvent and piggyback on.
Will you be putting something on the Facebook page then?
I can work with our communications specialist upstairs to help promote some of the stuff, yeah.
Okay.
I assume some of the bill reading clinics that we typically have done in the past are kind of out this year because of social distancing. Is that true?
I think on Cub's website, they do mention that they offer phone consultations.
Okay.
So there might be opportunities for people to still do those consultations, just not in person.
Not in person, okay. And then I don't see it, at least right in front of my face, but we had talked about also doing an electric car event, probably also next.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, I believe that the idea would be to do it potentially next year, but
Yeah.
that's sort of up in the air
Yeah.
still.
yep, okay.
Well, yeah, I think the utility bill clinics, I think that there are also workshops available online for that with certs.
Okay,
And I think it was in their last newsletter, I saw that. And so they're having, I think, a couple of different hour-long sessions were scheduled. So I think we could also put that on our Facebook page and Instagram and tweet about that, because I think that is an important thing. And as you said, we've offered those in person in the past, and but I think we can at least get it out there on social media. I think we're probably, well, we are too late for the fall, winter, Oakdale review, or Oakdale, not Oakdale review,
Yeah.
but our Oakdale newsletter.
Update.
Thank you. So I think social media is probably the best way to get it out
yeah.
to people.
What about even this channel? I mean, are we able to get airtime here if CERTS was doing like a clinic or an hour-long how to read your bill or like any of those? Can we look to secure airtime and even utilize this channel to push some of that stuff out? We'd probably have to correlate, and.
Yeah, that's not something that I know off the top of my head, but I can ask the question.
Okay. Because I think if you subscribe to the stuff, you're already a person who's interested in the value of that, right? And we're trying to reach the people who might not realize it's available to them.
Right.
Yes, we haven't done a lot of this in recent years, but we used to regularly invite in speakers, and we could ask someone from CERTS to come to our November meeting and what we do as part of the open forum at the beginning is to have them talk, and we could have them do a presentation even on opportunities for audits and, you know, their tools, their guides that they have available online, and I think lead one of those utility bill clinics as well as part of that.
Perfect.
So would that be something you could check out, Shannon, with CERTS to see if they would be willing to come to our November meeting and do a, I don't know, half-hour presentation or something to cover home energy audits and online tools, and maybe go through if they would have time, maybe an abbreviated utility bill clinic.
Yeah, I've made a note of it and I will ask.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you. I think that's one way to get it out. Another way where, you know, if they don't have Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. Okay. And there is a monthly newsletter that goes out about what each of the commissions are working on, and if that could maybe be included in that, to say that our November meeting will be focused on energy audits, and assuming we can get somebody for certs, of course, you know, to do those things.
Yeah, I'll have to check. I'm not sure. I think October's newsletter might have already gone out, but I will check and see if there's been a note on that at all.
Okay,
We could always promote it through socials if, you know, if the newsletter isn't something that's feasible. We can push out, like, you know, tune in to whatever channel this is on, and learn how to read your bill.
okay. Anything else on the energy audits part that?
Well, I just like to say this is a really good list, so I don't know what it could be attached to. Maybe the announcement of the clinic or something, but just this bullet-pointed list with the links on it is very helpful. I don't know how you know, would distribute it per se, but it would be a nice summation.
Sure.
Do we want to add adopt a drain to this?
I'm sorry?
Adopt a drain, the adopt a drain program? I know it's not necessarily energy efficiency, but
We will be talking about, in our next item
okay,
on the work plan, those other items.
okay.
Yeah,
One related point, if I may. So you all bring up a really good point about October being Energy Awareness Month. There's a lot of, I mean, you have days of the year and months of the year that are themed for whatever, you know, passion or cause that the world is, you know, connected to. And I just feel that, to your point, Chairperson, that there's another way to look at this whole from like a content calendar. So if there's a way for us to know in advance, maybe not the reactionary calendar, like, oh, this is coming up and I have to like retweet it, or I have to like share it, or you know, share a Facebook post. But if there's something that we could look at like month over month, or from a 12-month content calendar almost, it'd be really helpful for us to plan, especially being in a pandemic where people's lives are just crazy, where if we know as much advance as possible, we can totally support the work of the staff without having to think about recreating the wheel every time again. So if there's a theme calendar or something to plug into, that would be helpful. And if staff needs a volunteer to help co-create that, sign me up.
Okay,
So
good to know.
there you go.
Yeah, that is something that I can definitely bring to our communications specialist. She seems like somebody who would want to be a little bit more planned and strategic.
Intentional, yeah, great. Thank you, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
okay, why don't we move along to the next section of incentives and financing? And again, there is a number of opportunities here. I think some of them, Excel Energy, incentives, homeowners primarily here, and then there's the MinPace and St. Paul Authority, and also the Minnesota Department of Commerce, that are both consumer and also for businesses. So there are, we've talked about these opportunities in previously in other years, and Oakdale is a MinPace partner. So we've been doing these things, and it's just, we need to keep promoting the incentives and financing available. And, I think that, there's some easy ways to save some money. I know the Saver Switch is one thing that I have done, and it has really had no impact on me that I really can recall. So, I think that, again, it's maybe putting some of these things out there. And this one in particular, the commercial and multifamily units, if we can try to get the word out to them on the financing part, I think that's always been one of the issues is, getting commercial businesses, multifamily, property owners, the information on these things.
Could we maybe ask our communications manager what the breakdown is for how people interact with Oakdale? Like, is it mostly by the newsletter? Is it through so that we can probably, to your point, better figure out how to campaign?
Yeah, I can definitely ask that question. And just to see if there are any other avenues
Yeah.
for communication other than just posting on social media.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know we have talked in the past about getting information at the Oakdale Business Association.
Mm.
And so that may be another avenue to pursue. And I think that Economic Development Commission maybe has had more connection with them than we have in the past, but that might be a good connection to make regarding these programs.
The Business Association?
Well, I mean, I can add simply that with regard to the category of incentives and financing, we had personally, we had a major water heater issue in the last 12 months, and Excel came through with a lovely, nominal, but every dollar, especially today, helps. So they came through with rebates. We've done the peak. We've looked at our usage during peak. And so our new, also backing up, our new water heater now is natural gas as opposed to electric. So we've done a lot of intentional, switches at home, and just kind of looking at the weatherization piece, to your point, Commissioner Drainville, and other things that we can easily do. And it all adds up. So, to your point, all of these resources work. And the theme I'm hearing here is, how do we just message this out to people that are already engaged, to people that don't know that we do this, and to people that would like to be engaged but have no access. So.
Well, there's going to be a lot of new home construction off of Ideal.
By
So
you.
it's apparently the The builder is Leonard, no, I forgot the name of the builder, but it's one builder
Right.
that's gonna
Is
be.
it Lennar?
Lennar, yeah, thank you. So I don't know if the Economic Commission could contact them and see if they're aware of all these programs and how they might fit in with the new neighborhood. I don't know. But there's a big opportunity there for some of this to take place.
Yes, and actually, I've contacted Lennar. They haven't gotten back to me. I've just talked to their customer service type people. And I wouldn't need to talk to someone, more in a position where they have some influence over their building and that type of thing. So, yeah, I think that's really good to bring up to them and also to make them aware of what's out there too. But I think in new construction, there's really a great opportunity to, have improved, the windows, weather stripping, the insulation, everything to make it a tight home to start with. And I don't know what they're planning for this, and I do know that they're a high-quality builder, but it would be good to make sure that they know about the resources available to them. But I guess to Commissioners, your points on the communications, I think, really important, and the ability to interface with people. It'll have to be through either social media or other, means to get the word out this year. And so we'll have to explore these avenues of how we can communicate with both homeowners and with commercial business to make sure people know about it. And of course, multifamily has always been an issue for us on everything we're pursuing, from waste to energy and also water and that. So we have to really make an effort to make sure we're reaching out to multifamily as well. So any other comments here? All right, hearing none. Let's keep moving along here into the 2020 work plan. This was actually the last time we were physically together with the City Council and approving this work plan for 2020. And now we're looking to pull together the 2021 work plan. So,
Right on time.
So we've got an excellent start. And I think the items here, the one that you brought up, Commissioner Drainville, is the Ride and Drive event, and that got postponed, and hopefully we can do it this coming year, and be a sponsor and hold a local ride event here in Oakdale, and pursue those same things we were looking at last year, earlier this year. And then there were some zoning subdivision code amendments and city code amendments. And I don't know, have those things been completed already? Shannon?
The zoning code amendments have been drafted, but they have not been officially adopted as of yet.
Okay.
So we're working on getting those more codified. I believe that the city code amendment was not supported by council in the last meeting, so I'm not sure where that stands at the moment. but I can get an update for you.
Okay,
There was a note here about defining requirements for parking in an EV charging station and penalty for violation. That was listed as a priority, but reviewing the notes from the last city council workshop, I believe that that was not kind of proposed or supported. So that's been put on hold as far as I understand, but I need to get an update on that to confirm.
okay, because there are some of these that may have been completed already, and the ones that where the city council has been meeting now, and there could have been action, and also staff taking action to pull those things together. So I guess we would, for our November meeting, if you could give us an update on the code amendments listed here, and also the building permit process. And
I
I
can do
think
that.
the city financing for EV charging stations as well, so. Yeah, and then again, the electric vehicle bulk buy, that will go into our 2021, I think. And I think we'll have to reconnect with the Drive Electric Minnesota folks to make that happen. Okay, then there were, well, on this first section, the EV study priorities, are there any comments on any of those? Well, hearing none, I would move to the next part, the other comp plan priorities, and I think we talked about, a little bit about earlier, how promoting reinvestment in residential, commercial properties through energy efficiency. So I think the things we talked about there would fit in here nicely as we continue that, as well as the Bill Clinic, to maybe get a couple of these, maybe even done for this year, but I think those are programs that I think we want to continue to promote every year in some manner. And then the zoning regulations for solar, I think that would be another thing to follow up on for our next meeting. And then to look to be, assuming that we'll have Solar Twin Cities again next year, to be a host site. And then the Washington County Recycling Grant. We've been doing that for quite a few years, and we want to continue to get that grant and to continue to promote reducing waste generation and increasing our recycling rates. And then there's the Adopt a Drain, which was new this year. And we did start doing that, and our commissioners have been adopting drains, or we did adopt drains at the beginning of the year, and we've been cleaning those drains. And so any comments on that thus far?
Well, will you be sending out a new calendar? I had June, and then I haven't received any assignments since then, so.
Right.
Are we continuing to do it?
It's our drain forever, right? So-
Yeah. Yeah, I
Sounds
think
good.
we just need to have a new calendar.
Yep, I propose that we continue to
Okay.
keep doing it.
I'm willing.
Second, yeah.
It'll be interesting in the snowy winter, but we can still try it.
Oh, it's not bad. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
it's way more about, I think, spring and fall, like at least, because I had adopted personal drains, and then I have one by my house too now. And it's like right now, I think I cleaned out 7 gallons worth of waste this weekend because of the fall. So during the winter, there's not much you can do. It's
Okay.
typically iced over, but in the spring, we'll need you.
Yeah, I guess to that end, I mean, we're doing what we can. Are there ways, back to this, sound like a broken record here, are there ways to effectively promote this without creating more work collectively for us? So I would wonder if we could ask Hamlin, right, if there's an adopt a drain day, or if there's something that we could, latch on to. But if there's things that, from a comms perspective, a Marcom perspective, that your staff, your team is working on, happy to do it. And I think you all had received the images I had sent with my August cleanings about masks that I'm finding now
Yeah.
in drains. So from a community education piece, I think there's ample content that we could draw from and pull from to educate people about the both and proposition of what this pandemic means.
Sure you're wearing gloves when you do that.
Was I?
Make sure you're wearing gloves when you do that.
Yes. Have you seen those yucky studies?
Biohazard, man.
Yeah, I know. They're terrible. Good reminder.
Okay, then we also have Green Step Cities, best practice priorities, and one of them was working in coordination on the bike and pedestrian plan update. And I don't know what the current status on that is. I haven't heard anything, if they were able to, because I know they were going to be hosting some planning meetings with people, getting outside input from, I think there were the bike group at 3M and some other groups that on the plan. Because I think one of the things is making sure that there's access, like going through Oakdale to, to the park and ride to 3M, and, that there are connections to bike trails and that type of thing was going to be looked at in the plan. And I'm not sure where that is. And I think that, I was going to be part of that, and I hadn't heard, I didn't get notified of any meetings. So I think if we get an update, I think Linnea and was involved in that.
Yeah, I believe the work is ongoing, but has also been pushed for obvious reasons. So I will get an update from the community development team and see where it stands so far and let you know.
Okay, great. Thank you.
They couldn't do the public engagement piece of it yet because of COVID, so it is delayed.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I assume that, but I haven't heard anything. And then lastly, our metrics, and we need to continue to get data and be informed by data as we plan. So I guess as we looked at this now, the 2020 work plan, we've got some information to pull together. And as we've done in the past, we really focus in November then on reviewing data, reviewing the work plan, or starting from the work plan and what we've done, and then to look at best practices that we want to pursue for next year. So since we've got quite a bit to start with here, and if we can pull together data and also then look at additional best practices for next year in our November meeting, I think that would be a good direction to take.
Okay.
And because it'd be nice to have that drafted, because then it will be the holidays, which will not be the normal holidays, but we would like to then in early, in January, February, probably February, meet with the city council and review the work plan for 2021. So if we can get to pull together a draft and then have Shannon send the draft out to us, and we can review it in our January meeting and keep rolling from there. Get it in a position where we can present it to the city council in February. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Great.
Yes, thank you.
So Shannon has also included here the electric vehicles studies, and give us opportunity for discussion on this particular item. And I don't know, do you have anything you would like to say about this section?
Really, the whole point of including the 2019 study that was developed by Jen and then presented in August of 2019 to the commission was just to make sure that you guys still had it in front of you. I know it's been a while since that was presented, and the content in here is great, but it's very, very comprehensive. So I wanted to include the study and just kind of share with you the very main highlights of that study. Basically being that we know that greenhouse gases drive climate change, that the transportation sector accounts for quite a bit of that greenhouse gas emission, and that Oakdale has committed to finding ways to reduce emissions through supporting electric vehicle infrastructure. Now, the 2019 study went into the types of electric vehicles and the charging stations that they use to charge either overnight or during the day at a public place, and it also outlines some recommendations for policy changes, education, bolstering the infrastructure. So those recommendations were a really great place to start, but it is my priority now to kind of build upon the 2019 study and do a couple of different things with a kind of new proposed 2020 study to understand where in Oakdale we might be able to install charging stations to, again, make sure that accessibility to electric vehicles is encouraged and promoted among citizens. So I have listed in this memo here a few different bullet points of goals that this new 2020 study is hoping to accomplish, namely making sure those modifications to zoning ordinances do happen and are formalized, understanding different rates of adoption of electric vehicles in Oakdale today so that we can create use case scenarios for installing charging stations in the future, and then really making sure that we have a good understanding of the electrical and the financial infrastructure requirements that would make charging stations viable in the community.
Great, thank you, Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we have a number of items we already discussed regarding this promoting EV and getting that out. I think the infrastructure, something we did not discuss previously, and there is grant money available from the state of Minnesota based on their settlement of the Volkswagen case, and so I think we should connect with that, and again, that would be through CERTS. They are working on that and working with various cities, but I think to the point we need to know the what our requirements are. I think that we have the park and ride currently, and we'll have in the future, hopefully, a station at Helmo, whenever that happens, for getting into public transportation there. But those, I think, would be two good options. But also, if there are businesses that would have requirements, areas where multifamily housing, perhaps, and so I think that if we could get more data on the use of electric vehicles and and where we could maybe most benefit from having charging stations available. And I know the ones at the High V are, I think that's a good location right off, two major freeways and a place where people may stop and have dinner or lunch or something and then can charge their car and be back on the road. So I think those are also considerations need to look at. But I think making sure that we are keeping up with infrastructure to make it, promote it, make it more available to people. So I think as we look at this for our work plan, I think this is a great guiding document to help us with that, and we just need to continue to get data on the needs and also to see what we could do to get some of the grant money that's available out there to help us. We've had a lot of success in the past by using grants to help promote our programs and keep the costs down for the city, and we want to continue that. So any questions or discussion regarding the EV study or how it relates to our 2021 work plan?
Are we prioritizing or looking to reach out to Oakdale hotels? Like, I know that they renovated, I think, right on Lake Elmo, that Hampton Inn or something like that. They just renovated that like 2 years ago. And then there's an event center next door that is undergoing renovation this year that's connected to a hotel as well. It's right off 94. So to your point, that's a great location just for the highway, and then where are people more likely to stay?
Yeah.
So, and that's on our side of the road, because I think the other side is Lake Elmo, like the machine shed.
Right. That's right.
So is there, how can we prioritize reaching out to businesses? Like, what makes sense for us?
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my 2 cents.
Well, I'm also wondering if there's a way of prioritizing city property that might accept a EV charging station, and if so, where would it be?
Parks, Richard Walton for sure. A large location where families might gather, where you could be outside, and, Nature Preserve, Oakdale Discovery Center might be another one, to promote 2 forms of health.
And I would say the goal of this 2020 EV study is really to understand those best practices around installation and locations that would be best used for installation. And one of the outcomes of the study is to have a list of places in Oakdale where we think it might be a good opportunity to install charging stations, hotels being one of them, public places being one of them as well.
Okay. Will we understand what's involved in establishing the infrastructure?
Yeah, that's the goal,
Okay.
to really make sure that that's understood going into installation before we even break ground on anything. And we are fortunately part of a collective of a number of different cities who have already experienced installing charging stations and have shared their best practices. So I have a lot of peers that I've been talking to just to understand, what did you do before you installed anything? What kind of considerations came into play, and how can we replicate that here?
And I think Jen was telling us too about how they were trying to incentivize multifamily homes or locations to put the infrastructure in before they lay payment. Because and I'm not technologically savvy, but basically there's the conduits in order for the stations to later be installed. So it's trying to promote them to think for the future. Maybe Lamar would be, with the new location, would be a great place to, if we can get to them fast enough, promoting the thought of 5 years from now, everyone might have one. 10 years from now, definitely, right? Whereas 2025 is a lot. 3M, for example, they're pushing for 2025 for almost net zero emissions. So there's a lot of promotion for 2025 being the year, which is 4 years away almost at this point, which is insane to think about. But trying to think of the future instead of just the current. Absolutely.
I don't know if you guys watch Shark Tank or not. Last night, they had on, two guys, and I apologize, don't remember the name of the company. But their company was making, chargers for electric vehicles that are portable.
Mm.
And right now, they're making them so they can just lease them to people. And they can carry them in their cars and charge their vehicles, charges at 1 mile a minute.
Hmm.
And they're working on making them consumer available for like around $1,500 and smaller. This one was like 3-tier, I guess. And I think you can get, you can stack them so you get more power probably. But they're working on making it available to consumer for like $1,500. So that might be something too you guys want to look into, is what's the future of that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can try to get you that company name, but I'm sure it's on like Shark Tank's website.
Yeah. Probably Google the episode.
It was just last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think,
That's really cool if they make that available for consumers, because then the need for charging stations goes down substantially. Unless it's in a residential or hotel, like you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
But on the road, you just have it in your trunk, plug it in.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, and there, of course, is a difference in these charging stations, and there's the fast charging, and then there's the super fast charging, and the price goes up quite a bit, but those would be the kind to have, if somebody's, just getting off the road to take a break, and they can do a fast charge of their vehicle. So, yeah, there's some work to be done on this to determine exactly what we need and explore options there. And the other area that we brought up was also exploring options for city fleet use of electric vehicles. And so that's another thing to explore if we can do that. And it also goes along with the project. There's a project to build for the police station a place where they can have their vehicles indoors, and also to upgrade public works. So if with those upgrades and building, again, to build in the charging capacity, if there's opportunity for city vehicles to go to electric. And I think there should be for some of the vehicles at this point.
And getting the police vehicles indoors is a huge emissions reducer as well, because right now if they're parked outside, they have to run those things 24 hours a day in the winter, so that the
Yeah.
electronics don't freeze,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
a
it
huge energy waste. I mean, it's just nuts. But you have to do it because you can't fry a whole vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe there would be even opportunities for some of the city trucks, because they do the same thing. They run all the time pretty much, and they go out to do something, and the truck is running the whole time they're out working. So, yeah, big opportunity there, yeah. Okay, any further discussion on this item at this point? I had the opportunity to talk to Shannon and to Bob Streeter a couple weeks ago, I guess it was now, about priorities for next year. And so as we look to 2021, I see that, the biggest challenge that we're all facing as a society is in the environmental area is climate change. And so, we do have priorities along, and I think energy efficiency is a great place to start, because if you can prevent the loss of energy in the first place, then that's the best thing you can do, the most efficient. But also to promote, if we can get into the Solar Twin Cities program again, promote that. I think the final cost of 2019 was less than $3 a watt, which is really a good price. So if we can do that again, and the incentive is the more you get, the cheaper the cost gets, and so hopefully we can have even a more successful program going forward. And also then, of course, electric vehicles, promoting that, and anything else that we can do to help address climate change. And I think getting it out to, we've done a lot here as a city. The city's, all of our electricity the city uses is from a solar farm. And so we have that. And we need to promote this more and more with residents and businesses. And so I think I see that as a priority for 2021, is what we can do to get out, get more of our citizens and our businesses in Oakdale involved in this. Yeah.
I would like to give a shout out to the wind program. So anyone who has participated in the XL wind sourcing, they were 100% vested this year. And so the rebate was in full based on how much wind you sourced your energy from. So I think that's a really good gateway for residents who might not quite be ready maybe for solar, or don't have the opportunity if they're in a multifamily. It's as simple as checking a box on your XL, on your bill website. It's super simple, and it was a good saving. So we all got a rebate if you participated based on the percentage you used from wind, and it was very successful. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And there have been, I haven't checked recently, but I know there was still community solar opportunities to residents of Washington County. And so that is another way that people who maybe can't afford or can't build with multifamily can still get solar energy. So that'd be another thing to promote.
Yeah. It's like a gateway, just a very simple way to participate and not have it be as overwhelming.
Yeah. Great point. Thank you. So, I think we have quite a bit to start with in November, putting together a 2021 work plan. But if there are other things that people have, you can bring them up now or to think about it and before our November meeting. And if you have something in particular you want to bring to that meeting, if ahead of time, you could let Shannon know so she can include that on the agenda. And because open to look at that, but I think the imperative is around things that can impact climate change. There are other things too that I think are still important. I think the continuing with the waste program, and we had talked about focus on plastics and what we can do to reduce plastics in the environment in general. I think that's still important. But I want to make sure that we're really looking at all avenues where we can reduce energy and greenhouse gas emissions.
Can I just make another suggestion? I'm sorry, you guys.
Oh.
So around this whole topic, climate change, electric vehicles, all this, there's always the naysayers, right? The people who don't understand, maybe don't believe what's coming out, whatever. Maybe you could take this opportunity to also educate people on, I'm trying to think of an example. For an example, I was talking to my boyfriend last night. We were talking about electric vehicles. And we were talking about what do they do, what do they do as far as disposal goes?
Mm-hmm.
And where do they mine for the parts for this stuff? All of that stuff, if it's a positive, more positive than your regular cars, you should promote that, because right now, people don't even know. I don't even know. What happens to an electric car? What happens to the battery? Where do they
Yeah.
source the materials? All of that information. How is it better for the environment versus a regular car because of all these questions? It is. I'm not saying it's not, but I mean, informing people with those details would help as well.
And we might not even have to go as far as the car. We can start as simple as plastic bags. Like, yeah, paper sounds like a great option, but it's actually an increased footprint. Bring your own. That's the best way.
Yeah.
So,
Perfect,
yeah, like just very simple, digestible, small impacts that you can make on your life with barely really any effort on your part. But, be a champion, be a climate change champion. But I think figuring out how to reach people is going to be key. Because right now I don't want to say stumbling, but it's great to have a ton of ideas, but like, what are you going to do with them?
How do you act on them?
Yes,
There's barriers.
exactly.
There's clear
Yeah.
barriers.
Yeah, we all probably agree, right, that this is an issue and we can do things to make it better, but we need a larger group.
Whatever happened to that high school student?
I think they graduated because it was January or February, and I think it was only until May when yeah.
On that again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, partner with Tartan.
Okay, is there anything else at this time? Anything not on the agenda that people would like to talk about tonight? We always let, ideas from our commissioners, if you have anything in particular that you'd like to bring to any of our meetings, that, you see something that another city is doing and would like to talk about that, feel free to bring that. Always allow time at these meetings to bring forward new items, too, that we may not thinking of, may not have crossed our computer or our desk, and we just want to make sure we're looking at all opportunities here. And I am hoping that in next year they'll have another environmental commissioners meeting. That has been always beneficial in getting new ideas from other cities and what they're doing. So that's a good opportunity. And so hearing none, our next meeting date would be the third Monday in November. And I think that is the 23rd?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the 23rd, yeah. And we'll have an opportunity at that meeting then to work on our 2021 work plan. And I would like to, normally we hold that as a workshop rather than in a broadcast on-air meeting. I think, we usually have a lot of things to discuss on the agenda. It usually makes it a little easier to do that in a workshop setting. And I think also whether it's in person again or virtual, will be determined by if, you know, the COVID-19 cases continue on the uptrend here with the cold weather. We may want to do that on Zoom or another platform.
So you mentioned having a presentation from CERTS or Xcel Energy or something, and you did mention November, so
Yeah, in November, yeah.
would it be at our meeting or separately?
It would be at our meeting, and that probably could be done virtually, whether,
Yeah.
either way,
Sure.
if we're here or, you know, or if we're on Zoom, then it would obviously be virtual for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you talk to them, I think they can connect in virtually. They wouldn't need to come out for that.
No, I think that they've got the virtual thing on lock at this point, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd imagine they'd be able to conference in.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that probably we could do this effectively virtually as well, so,
We've done a couple of virtual tree board meetings now, and they've worked okay.
yeah. Yeah, so we'll see what's, everyone's comfortable with, what is happening at that point in time regarding the pandemic, and, but I'm thinking at this point, it'll probably be virtual, and, you know, if everybody's, I'm sure everybody's been on Zoom for a lot of meetings over the last 8 months or more, so,
You can wear comfy socks, nice fuzzy socks, so
yeah.
not a bad thing.
Okay, so unless there's anything further, I would look for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So
moved.
moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of adjourning the Oakdale Environmental Management Commission of October 19, 2020, say aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.